Hey, once again, you're back. It is Tuesday, and a great Tuesday today because we're here with OnFire Show with myself, Darryl McKell Brooks.
Joe Siana.
Neil Schloss.
And we got a great show today. We're going to have two guests from around the country. Around the country,
really.
We got somebody in Las Vegas. We have Randy Sutton, PD. And we also have
Dax Ewbank. He actually is from Oklahoma.
All right. What's the
West-
Western show? Western,
coast to coast.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right?
All
That's
Western
how they say it.
show.
Okay.
L.A.
All right.
H-O-M-A.
Yeah.
And, you know, today's
Are we going to start singing Oklahoma today?
We are. We're going to do a stage of production number. That's going to be.
Wow.
The choreography doesn't radio doesn't do justice to our dancing, but, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why we're still on the radio, not in video yet.
Yeah. You know, one of the things is that it's Tuesday, and I guess we all had a great weekend, and it's
Turkeys.
Oh yeah, turkey.
Right? Lots of turkeys.
Oh yeah, I made a turkey.
Did you?
Yeah, I made the. This is my second turkey I've cooked.
Yeah.
But now I don't think the first one wasn't a Thanksgiving turkey.
How'd you cook it?
How do
fry it?
No. Yeah, fried turkey, like fried chicken. No, you don't fry turkey.
We did.
You can fry turkey.
We did it.
Oh wow.
We had a fried turkey.
Uh-huh.
And of course we had the traditional turkey.
Yeah.
And we had one other method used. I was standing by the fryer, cooking my turkey.
Oh wow! For me, I was at Jay's house, and the family came over, but I started cooking 4:30 in the morning. 4:30 in the morning.
Wow. I give you credit, man.
I woke, I asked them. She had some coffee for me, and I started cooking 4:30 in the morning, and it was like one of those things. You wake up, get out, and get to the kitchen, and it's like, oh God, the kitchen is a mess. How are you gonna clean this up first before you start cooking?
Yeah. Well, my wife's an awesome cook.
Oh yeah, and
incredible.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I mean, I don't think I can remember the last time I cooked.
Wow.
I do.
That's a shame.
I'm a breakfast man. I make breakfast.
What time
I
do you
do
get up
pancakes between 7:30 and 9. It's the time frames typically.
Who gets up 7:30 and 9 to make breakfast?
Between 7:30 and 9 o'clock.
Yeah, usually get up at 6:30 to make breakfast.
I'm up late, man. I love nighttime.
There's different hours, but we've got an on-fire promotion coming here where Neil's wife is going to cook for you for a week.
Yeah.
Oh.
And I'll make the turkey.
If she's listening, honey,
nice
if the door's not letting me in tonight, I understand. You don't want me home anymore.
And so I made turkey, and what I did was I watched something on YouTube. I like to watch different styles of how you cook a turkey.
Well, speaking of the internet,
yeah.
Okay, if you want to join the show right now, you can go to the chat room. Go to hamiltonradio.net, click on HR chat room, and you'll see the icon of the three of us, the three clowns, and click on that, and the chat room will open. And we got some instructions here. Go ahead. You can speak to the right, Ruben. Yeah, if you want to join this show, you keep talking from far away, come on over and speak it to the mic.
I'll speak into the mic. Here I go. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm the producer here at Hamilton Radio. If you're going to be in the chat room, you should be able to sign on as guest. Or if you want your name to appear in the chat room, you must register at hamiltonradio.net. Just click where it says register. And then once you finish registering, I will approve you on our back end, and then you'll be able to sign in. So you can let Neil say, hey, I signed in, just waiting. I registered, and I'm just waiting to be approved so I can sign in, so I can have my name appear on the chat room.
All right.
And if you don't join, we're going to have Ruben say this instruction every time. So we prefer you to join now. Make that guest room show up with 1,000 users would be nice, right?
Yeah,
exactly.
Join the guest room.
Join the guest room. And OnFire is now on demand.
Sound like join the restaurant.
Oh, on demand? What's that?
Just click on OnFire Show on demand on the OnFire Show webpage on hamiltonradio.net. Just click on their banner at the bottom, and you'll see the three where it says play live now.
On demand.
Yeah, there's
there
are three shows.
Three
shows on.
So
Trace, yes.
There'll be more coming soon.
So one of the things that let's talk about this turkey. I made this turkey.
All right.
I glazed the turkey with butter and garlic and everything else. How we glazed it, and then, I love the part where I just start sticking. I stuck an apple. I sliced the apples up, sliced the onions up, sliced some lemons up, and stuff it inside the turkey. Wow, and it was
Nice.
one of those things. I just start picking things out, just stuffing it in turkey.
Oh, it must have been a flavorful
and
turkey.
It was a good turkey, and it cooked for 3.5 hours, I think. And the turkey wasn't dry. It was the best tasting turkey, and I just finished eating the turkey yesterday, and all of it.
And how much did you sleep? Did you sleep the rest after eating? You fell asleep?
Oh yeah. The turkey. I mean, awesome. Then I made some honey barbecue chicken.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and that was gone like the.
And it wasn't my chicken, right? You didn't come to my house and steal one of my chickens,
I wish
did you?
I could have, man. You know, it was some wild chickens.
I've been giving some of my roosters away.
Have you?
Yeah,
that's what you said.
They've been
keep you up, huh?
Yeah, they keep. They're keeping the neighbors up, and I understand that it's.
I got a honey barbecue.
Yeah, give them to Daryl. He gets up early.
I like to have a farm that's people
He'll wake the roosters up.
Yeah, I got some honey.
Deacon is here.
Yeah,
the Deacon.
Get some honey barbecue roosters.
Oh, we got some donuts. Dunkin' Donuts.
We got some pizza.
I got some pizza on the way.
Pizza on the way.
Yeah, Papa's Pizza, right in Hamilton.
Yeah.
We are on fire, baby, on fire.
So, Joe, how was your weekend? How was your Thanksgiving?
My Thanksgiving was great. I had with the fourth straight Aunt Marie Thanksgiving. Aunt Marie's house. Here's pizza.
All right.
This is awesome.
All right, come in here. Come in here and join the conversation for a second.
What's up, Danny?
Yeah, Papa's Pizza just showed up. Hamilton, New Jersey, right? It's Hamilton or Robbinsville? Robbinsville.
Yeah, I was just out with a.
This is not pizza. This is tomato pie.
Yeah.
Let's get that right.
He was supposed to come up with a promo. Like, are we? If they come and call you for an order and announce Hamilton Radio.
No, thanks. I'm good.
So I have a question for you.
What's up?
So if people call in to make an order and they mention Hamilton Radio on the call, would you give them a discount at all? Like maybe $1 off the pie? Can we try to work a deal like that?
Ask the boss. I'll ask Nick.
All right. Well, I mean, I think that's a good way to see how effective this Hamilton Radio is out there and the audience. The pizza, I know, I've eaten there plenty of times. Awesome.
What is this? This is the oldest tomato pie in New Jersey?
In the country.
In the country.
In the country.
There we go.
And you know what's the interesting part? This is all a side story. I go into their bathroom and they have a newspaper from 1950s.
Yeah, like 1963, I think.
1963. And I'm going to the bathroom, and of course I'm reading this paper, and right in the middle is the Tony DiNicola trio, and it's his ad, and I'm like, Tony DiNicola, that was my drum teacher from college.
Wow.
Yeah. He was my drum teacher for 4 years. Great.
Fish and chips, 99 cents.
Amazing. Yeah, fish and chips were 99 cents. Okay. I mean, imagine the price. It's almost like to look back and reflect on the pricing model we have here, right?
Mm-hmm.
In America. I mean, a pricing model that is prices are going up, but most of us in the libertarian movement understand that the dollar is devaluing, right?
Yeah.
So it's that the dollar just lost some value, and of course it just cost more money to get the equal amount that you used to get in 1950 or 60.
Right.
So I keep saying to people, like, the value of the dollar declines, okay, which is making us have that struggle in our lives, like the feeling of, like, are we going to be able to pay our next bill?
Right. There's a place around the corner from here. I don't know if you've gone to it. It's called Chickanella's Homestead.
Yeah.
It looks like it's been a speakeasy. It's been there forever. You go in there, it's all cash. There's no menus. But they do have, like, a price list up there from, like, probably, like, Depression era. And it was like, you get a steak dinner for, like, $1.25. You can get, and now you can't get out of there for less than, like, $150 for two people. And you better have more than that because it's all cash. And it's like, it's got to be a mob place because you can't.
So I figured it out a little, guys.
And no prices.
With my chickens, I mean, what's the price of eggs for me? Like, how much do eggs cost for me?
Well, you can't say nothing because you got to feed the chickens. You got to.
All right.
You've got overhead that you have to amortize over time.
All right, but if you let the chickens free range, where I don't even have to feed them in their coop and they're pecking the ground and picking the food out of the ground, what's it going to cost for me for my eggs?
Nothing.
All right, so it's a way for someone to think about how to become free, right? A freer person is a man that doesn't have to rely on the dollar because the dollar is devaluing, which is making people feel troubled these days, that they can't pay their bills.
Can't pay their bills.
Interesting. This morning, I was in the store, and a lady was in there. She's raising hens. And she is in Vermont. She had just moved to Vermont.
Are we going to turn this into a chicken show or something?
The conversation was like,
He is.
Wow, I understand what she's talking about, you know. She was talking about the quiet hens and the chick, you know, things. And the lady was saying, aren't they noisy? She said, no, they're quiet.
No.
And she was telling me how many hens she had. And I was just sitting there laughing. And I was like, wow.
Well, I have 14 hens. My friend, Fred, the chicken man, okay, he's got 200 hens in his backyard. 200 hens. He gives chickens away for free, and then he teaches you, man. He teaches you how it works. And he's teaching people in our neighborhood to become chicken hatcheries. So, I mean, I incubated last May 15 eggs.
Mm-hmm.
My son Parker went to the hen house, pulled 15 eggs, and we brought them home, and my buddy gave us the incubator and taught us how to incubate the eggs. Very simple process. It's 21 days from the time you put them in to the time they hatch. And if you put them in the skinny side down into a egg mover, it rotates them at a nice speed.
Skinny side down?
And skinny side down.
I like them sunny side up.
Well, at the end, you can have it sunny side up for the free eggs that you will get once you, of course, hatch these chickens. So we ended up having 13 chickens hatched out of the 15 eggs. And Fred was like, Neil, you are the master chicken grower because I had 13 out of 15. He goes, no one else even came close to you out of the people that incubated. They had probably 7, 6, or 5 hens hatched or chickens hatched at that point. Well, in the freedom idea, right? The freedom concept is you do what you want because you're not harming anyone else, right, Joe?
That's right. But have they required you?
Have they required me? Our town does not require it, okay? Because, of course, our town gets that part right in the law, which is simply they cannot make a law to give you a right to have chickens or not have chickens, right?
Right. But
so
I know that our friends Gloria and Robert, they were thinking of, I think they had chickens where they lived up in PFAC, which is they were in the middle of nowhere. But they were looking to move to Island, and Island was not going to let them put up chickens there.
Well, they can start a lawsuit.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they could start the complaint, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is the process in law. You go to, you complain. You say to, hey, Deacon, I got a problem with you. So I'm going to write you a letter and tell you what my complaint is, okay? Because you and I can have this conversation. You can walk away and never just leave. You go your way, I go my way. Or if we have a disagreement and we want to settle it, then I send you a complaint in writing, and you have to respond, right? So that would be the first thing that Gloria and Rob could have done if they went down to Island, is put a complaint in saying, I have a grievance against this town, and you have the right to redress your grievances at any time under your First Amendment.
Oh, wow.
And, it's interesting. But going back to the chickens, man, awesome. We get free eggs. Free eggs. How awesome is that?
So,
we're going to teach people how to become chicken hatcheries.
So did you grow your turkey? No.
I did not grow my turkey, but I've been giving away some roosters. So people getting some free dinner.
Wow.
Yeah.
An old joke. Guy goes to a psychiatrist and goes, I want to talk to you about my brother. He thinks he's a chicken. He goes, well, bring him in here. I'll talk to him. Maybe I can cure him. He goes, well, I've kind of gotten used to the free eggs.
Wow. Wow.
Well, if you want to start calling me chicken, that's fine. I'm okay with that.
So, Joe, about your weekend.
Yeah.
We just went off course about chickens.
We did.
How was your weekend?
As I said, my weekend was great. We go to Aunt Marie's house. That's where we've gone the last 4 years. She's got finished basement. She's got 4 daughters. There are 4 married daughters. But she and the 4 daughters cook everything. They bring it down. You're not even allowed upstairs to the thing. So they bring things down. They serve you. They bring things away. You don't clean. Watch the Eagles game. Topped off the entire weekend. Put me on a high with the complete whooping of the Cowboys, and it was a great thing. Then I know you and I were on the phone Sunday morning, and
We was?
yeah, we was.
You know, okay.
Yeah, I was. We're learning how to make the show and our website a better thing from Mr. John Menko. So
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, it was.
How was that?
It was awesome.
it was pretty. That was pretty productive. And Joanna she took a lot of extensive notes. So
Yeah,
hopefully
Jay, and we got
it'll
photo-
stick.
Yeah, and we finally understand how to put the photos on there and the website and the links. To
Oh, yeah,
the
and we have
website.
swag, right?
Mhm.
Is that the term, swag?
Swag what?
We have merchandise.
We have merchandise.
Merchandise.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's where
On
the big
Fire-
money is.
Yes, OnFire News Network.
If
Yes.
you want to support us, I mean,
Yes,
we-
and you can go to OnFire News Network and onfirenn.com and go. You can see the cups there now.
yeah, cups.
The cups. We have the cups. We got T-shirts. We have buttons. We have sweaters.
It's like a coffee show.
Oh,
Coffee talk
yeah,
show.
we got
now,
it.
man.
I mean, for real. I mean, we got go to get the merchandise. We got hats. We got 2 different style of hats, and it's a great thing. I was working on it yesterday and trying to get the store right, and we're going to have more things on the store, keychains and all that. So it's when I looked at other websites, they do the same thing. They have their own, basically their own store, and it's you use Cafe Tree.
Right.
Cafe Tree is all you got to do is get in the
Cafe
logo.
Press.
No, it's a Cafe Tree.
It's
Is it
Cafe-
press? Is it tree?
I think it's
Press.
Cafe Press.
Press.
Yeah,
Where am I
Cafe.
getting tree
Like
from?
press the cafe. Press,
Press
the
the cafe.
coffee.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Uh-huh.
So
That's what it meant, like press, like the newspaper.
why do I get this,
Right, like
this-
the news.
Right.
Yeah.
How funny is that?
Stop the presses.
Yeah,
Stop the
so,
presses.
and it's pretty good. I was on there for like 4 hours trying to figure everything out.
Nice.
And it's one of those things where people get to if you support the show and support the website, why not buy a coffee cup, a mug?
I'm waiting for the image with the 3 of our faces on
Oh.
people's shirts. That'd be pretty funny.
Oh,
Wake up to Joe, Neil, and Daryl.
Well,
Go to sleep.
Go back
to
to
sleep.
bed.
Go back to bed. Go back to bed. Just keep
And-
this on, and we'll talk to your subliminal mind and not your
And- oh, yeah.
consciousness.
So I mean, it's one of these things that people can go out and support you and get a great coffee mug. How about your weekend?
Oh, mine was awesome. It started out actually, of course, with school
Chicken.
closing. No, school closed on Wednesday. So we had Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So it was an awesome weekend. Started off with the Elf production. Went to the Playhouse, the Paper Mill Playhouse up in North Jersey. I don't know what town it's in. The Elf production's running from now till I think the end of January or February. And we went opening night. Ran into Governor Keene.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I got to meet Governor Keene. That was pretty interesting. He was there with his granddaughter, and just said, "How you doing, Governor? It's a pleasure
He's a funny
to
look.
meet you." He's a tall dude, man. I mean, for me, everyone's tall, but he was real tall. And
Played ball, didn't he? in college?
did he?
I think he played ball.
Yeah, it's funny. I used to teach at Keene University. I taught the continuing ed program up there for computers. I did Access, Microsoft Access, Excel, Word, PowerPoint. I did one semester, one or two, actually 2 semesters. I did it there. That was pretty much when I had time to teach. And then from there, the Elf was great. I would recommend it to everyone.
The who?
Go see Elf.
Elf.
Up in the Paper Mill Playhouse. I mean, they took the movie and made it into a play that is awesome. Awesome production. And then, of course, Thanksgiving was great. I think Friday hung out with the kids, took care of the house a little bit, and then it's Monday came, and now we're here. It's like so quick. It's like it's faster than a speeding bullet.
Oh yeah. There's some articles on the OnFire News Network you should really check out. One of the articles just posted: Obama, dumb, brash, and unnatural war. And it's one of these things that you really need to go check out. Also, prosecutors falsely push prison term for innocent teen in Washington D.C. No, in Philadelphia. And it's one of these things that it really questions what's really happening in our society today, especially with our young teens and what these prosecutors are doing around the country. And when you are a Philadelphia young kid, and this one kid, he was accused of robbing a blind woman. And what happened was that the young kid, she had a dog with her, the dog that walks her, that helps the blind.
Right.
And the dog picked him out. And he was accused of trying to burn the house down and robbing the place, trying to burn the house down. And so they locked him up to $500,000 bail. And he was looking at doing 15 years in prison.
So what was the accusations?
Robbing a house and also trying to set it afire.
Okay.
And so she didn't pick him out. The dog picked him out. And the dog that helps the figure that helps
and
the woman.
And under like just scent.
Yeah, scent, and also I guess something that.
But how does it? I mean, how could a police officer? Do you remember the moment that the woman had her purse stolen from him, and remember the scent of that person? Let's all go out and sniff and say this is the one.
Yeah, and somehow they found him. They found this guy, the young kid.
They found him.
They found this young kid.
Okay.
And what happened was they were going to give him a crazy amount of time. He was going to take a plea. But what happened?
Why would he take a plea?
Because he's young. He doesn't have the money.
Yeah, but why would someone? Was he innocent?
Yes, he was innocent. But that doesn't matter if you're innocent or not. Sometimes if you don't have the money, enough pressure, you'll do anything. But what happened was there was some the one who wrote.
But why would there be pressure on him?
There's always pressure because they
pressure of saying that he's going to go to jail.
Yeah, you're going to go to jail.
Yeah.
But is he innocent?
Yes, he's innocent.
Was he innocent?
Yes, he was innocent.
But they push these things through. You don't have a lawyer. You have a public defender.
Public defender.
They want to move these cases because there's a big backlog, and they say, "Look at this. Yeah, okay, you could say this and that, but if you don't do this, we'll raise the ante.
Yeah.
You go to court, and then we're going to.
You watch Law and Order
Then you
at
piss
all?
them off, and then instead of going for a year or two, you go for 10 years.
That's TV, boys and girls. I mean,
yeah, but still,
you
it
can
happens.
learn how to defend yourself.
Was facing 85 years in jail.
But that was the pressure they were saying about.
They pressured him to take 30 years.
So it's just
he didn't do the crime at all. 3 weeks later, they found out he had not done the crime, and he was exonerated of all charges.
Look what happened to.
Had he taken the 30 years, he would still be in jail today.
Look what happened to Shanine Allen this summer. I mean, eventually, because of the pressure from all the Tea Party and the right to bear arms groups, they changed the law. But, she was just riding with her gun, which was a legal gun in Pennsylvania, in New Jersey, and they said, okay, what we'll do is we'll give you a plea bargain. If they gave her a plea bargain, she would have admitted she was guilty of a crime.
Right,
yes.
right.
Now all of a sudden she's a felon. Like, no, that's not. But it would have been easy. And they said that wasn't justice. But that's the way justice gets done.
So the young kid is Tameo McDuffie. And what happened was some community activists got together and started protesting and organizing, got this young kid, a lawyer. And what happened was they got investigated and found out this blind woman accused other people where she lived at before of robbing her and trying to set a fire of a house. She was the one that was trying to set a fire to the house. Right. So she accused other individuals, but the police department and the detectives didn't investigate this stuff.
Right.
They just said, yeah, you did it, the dog smelled you out, and boom, you're guilty. So
you're innocent.
But you're innocent.
But you're always innocent first, guys.
But
if you're listening, you're innocent first, and if you truly are an innocent man, then you have to fight. Learn how to fight the right way.
That's the key word.
Learn. What's that, Deacon? You got to speak into the mic, my friend.
Well, that's one of the things that our program does is that for the lack of knowledge, our young people are perishing. They will, if a man is charged with something and he says, you give him an option of 30, and I'll give you a deal, and you only do 10, you're going to take the 10. So that's one of the things it's not about being innocent or not.
Mm-hmm. And when you look at what type of society we have, you look at the police department. That's we have corrupt police officers because you see it all the time in the newspaper and what some of these police officers are doing. Detectives, prosecutors. You have these lawyers that are they're all working together at one, and it's that society that's gone totally mad. And like I said, do you ever watch Law and Order? I mean, when you watch Law and Order, some of those things exactly happen.
But there's procedure that people need to learn to follow.
Yeah, well, there are procedures, but when it comes down to dealing with especially poor kids, whether you're black or white, you hit. And if you've noticed in Pennsylvania, what happened in Pennsylvania, where they were sending kids to prison. And they were these kids. They were stealing maybe Snickers bars or certain things, and they would give them a year in prison for stealing a Snicker bar. I mean, they were selling these kids to private prisons. These were judges.
For stolen merchandise.
Yeah, these were or you may get in a fight. Yeah, you get a Snicker bar, sodas, or whatever, and sending them the private prisons for a year. I mean, or kids with disorder. You don't send kids to prison for certain things. I mean,
I would make him go work for the guy that he stole the Snickers from for the amount that it was worth.
But they were selling in the prison. And what type of society we have when you have these corrupt judges? Now, these are corrupt judges in Pennsylvania. And the Wilkes-Barre.
No. Rather than say corrupt, let's say they're just not following the law.
No, they're corrupt. They're corrupt when you lock kids up and you don't, and that's not justice. That's corrupt. When you get paid from the prison industry, they gave them millions of dollars.
But is it the judge that put him into the
but
jail,
the judge,
or was it the jury?
The judge. It was the judge.
Judge.
And the prison industry, the private people who own the private prisons were paying the judges money, giving them checks. So, I mean, that's corruption. That's totally corruption. Am I right, Joe?
It is. Go back to what Neil said, though, originally, is that, a reasonable way of doing this thing is say, you've stolen a Snickers bar that's worth, what, $1.50 or something like that. You're going to have to go to work for this guy, and you're going to have to work and, make $50, off of this guy. So, instead of putting people into prison forever, is do something that gives them some sort of constructive skill. Make them, compensate the people. Because most of the things that, especially for economic crime, basically it doesn't do the guy who was hurt any good to put somebody in prison. He's been stolen from. He's been diminished. He wants to be made good. He doesn't want to. But when you put somebody in prison, you do two things. One, it's going to cost you a fortune to put him in prison. And two, you're going to wreck a life probably. And it's going to cost you a fortune to keep that guy, under wraps for the rest of his life. Deacon, look like you're going to say something.
All right, well, we got to go into a station.
That's what he's going to say.
Dax Ewbank is coming on.
Dax Ewbank is coming on.
Ran for governor of Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
So he'll be calling in at the commercial.
All right. But like I said, after this commercial, we're going to have Dax Ewbank from Oklahoma. But what I want to say is that, these are those corrupt judges, and they're, what they did was totally wrong, selling kids to the prison industry, private prisons, and they were getting kickbacks for doing it. That's corruption. We'll be right back with OnFire.
Having a slow night? Looking for a way to bring in more customers? Well, Night Owl Poker has the solution for you. Night Owl Poker has free poker nights for your restaurant. Our games average 15 to 30 players a night and have the potential to grow even more. Other free poker game sites charge from $80 to $100 regardless of how many players show up. Our charges are so low it's hard to believe, but it's true. For more information, call 609-610-1000. NightOwlPoker.com. That's NITEOWL Poker.com.
You take your health seriously? Well, if you do, you need to check out HamiltonRadioNet.my94life.com. And it's spelled HamiltonRadioNet.my90 for life, FOR, life.com. Check it out today. Join or shop for the best products for your health. We take your health seriously here at Hamilton Radio.
Hey, you're back with OnFire. This is OnFire Show, and you're here with Dax Ewbank. Hello, Dax.
Hey, how you doing?
How you doing? You're on fire?
Nice. Dax, I want to do the introduction since I met you back in March of 2014. I was out in Oklahoma for the NCAA Wrestling Championships. And when I was there, I knew there was breaks in the wrestling events. I wanted to meet up with some Ron Paul supporters. So I looked up meetup groups, Ron Paul meetup groups, and his popped up, and I shot a quick email out to them saying, hey, guys, I'll be out in March to watch this NCAA wrestling program. Is there anything going on? And I don't know if it's Dax who emailed me back, but one of the guys emailed me, and he said, hey, yeah, there's an event one night. And I said, all right, cool, I'm going to come. So I went there, and Dax was there.
Okay.
He was politically active, but not running for office. They actually had a Democrat there who was running for office, and it was to kind of meet that candidate. So Dax was in the corner. I sat next to him, met his parents, and just had a good conversation.
Good.
And I get home, and we become friends through Facebook, and I'm watching Facebook post after Facebook post of Dax just spouting about his libertarian ideas and his thoughts, and liked what he said. And one day I see which to me is a joke because I'm not used to my friends that I've met running. So I see Dax Ewbank for governor. Like at Dax, it was funny because I really thought it was a joke. Like because another friend of mine did the same thing, and I said,
Not the only one, yeah.
we're so involved with this movement that we feel like we are the politicians already. It's like you don't have to run. You just know the idea and the freedom principles. So that's how I met him, and I called him and said, I Facebooked him and said, hey, do you want to be on the radio show? And here we are. So welcome, Dax.
Thanks. It's good to be here.
Yeah.
So Dax,
Definitely an interesting past few months for me, going through the whole process of actually running and seeing the whole process from the other side of the perspective. From I'd seen the whole process in 2012 with the Ron Paul campaign down in Tampa and through the whole activism activities, and then to see the process on the other side as a candidate, definitely eye-opening.
Now, when you say that, like, can you explain that? Because a lot of people that are listening don't understand that process. I mean, they're living their lives. They're watching TV. They have no idea the political, what goes on behind the scenes. So do you mind talking about that?
Sure. I mean, first of all, from the activist side, when I was just a GOP activist and going to the conventions, going through the whole Republican machinery, was probably the most eye-opening thing, just to see how controlled it is and how little of a say an activist really has, because the machinery is so controlled, the outcomes are predetermined, etc. But then to run as governor, you get the kind of the perspective of how, just exactly how campaign money really does affect how these things work. You get a real feel for the idea that the people that you think you're voting for, they are marketed products. The person's name is a product, and it's marketed to you. It's nothing like the man that is the actual politician. These marketing campaigns are, highly organized, very targeted, and they know exactly what to say, what words to use, everything, what to do in order to get you to buy and to show up and vote. And campaign money obviously has a lot to say about that, and a lot of times the actual candidate doesn't have a lot to say about that.
Dax, this is Joe Ciano. Did you run on one of the party platforms, or did you run as an independent? And then if you were,
I ran as a Republican. We have a primary here, so I went up against our sitting governor, and as a Republican.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, how many votes did you get?
I got 25,000 votes.
Awesome.
Yeah, I spent $7,000. I don't know what that works out to, less than 20 cents a vote or something like that. And the governor, the sitting governor, I think on the primary spent $1.4 million, which came out to about $6 or $8 a vote. So I like to tell people that if I only had $10,000 more, I could have won. Or the other option is I just bought all the cheap votes, and all the rest of the votes are actually cost $8 each. So I'm not quite sure what the answer is there yet, though.
Did you get an opportunity to debate the incumbent? Was there a platform for that?
No, the old saying by Gandhi: first they ignore you, then they laugh at you, then they fight you, then you win. They were following that with the ignore strategy pretty hardcore. They were trying very hard not to mention me, or there was another guy that ran also in anything, just to try to make it as if we didn't exist. Did a pretty good job, but we did get our name out there as hard as we could. So,
what were the issues that you were pursuing, the hot button issues, and what did the electorate seem to be concerned about?
Well, the issues, what motivated me to run, really, the marijuana issue is a big issue for me that motivated me to run. And just liberty in general, a libertarian philosophy. I was tired of, Oklahoma Republicans particularly like to brag about being the quote-unquote reddest state in America, like we're the most Republican, most conservative state in America. And that's maybe true by how many conservative politicians that we have in office, but if you look at actual policy and how our government promotes and governs according to the principles of liberty, I argue that claim to fame, I guess, is that I don't think we're that conservative, let alone that, liberty orientated. Definitely not a small government minded.
So Dax, this is Daryl. I want to ask you a question. How long have you been a libertarian, and when did you start? First of all, when did you join the Libertarian Party? And
He's a Republican still.
Are you a Libertarian or Republican? Because I'm looking on the site and it says Libertarian.
Yeah, well, in Oklahoma, basically, we have some of the most strict ballot access laws in the nation, and so it's hard to be a Libertarian in Oklahoma by party, just because of how the ballot access laws here work. In order to be active in a party and to have a say in the political process in general, you have to be a member of the Democrat or Republican Party. The Libertarians, a good friend of mine is the chairman of the Libertarian Party, and the meetup group actually that Neil and I met at is hosted by several of the leading libertarians in our state. But to be politically active as a libertarian is hard to do in Oklahoma because of our ballot access laws.
Oh, okay.
A big L libertarian, I guess.
So
registered libertarian.
I thought I was going to a Republican event when I went there.
So tell me, are you planning on running again?
I'm not planning on it right now, but I wasn't planning on running when I ran, a few months ago either. So I do. I'm just passionate about liberty, and the way I see it, I've been jaded quite a bit through my political activism, just seeing the process, seeing how corrupt it is, and some different problems with it. However, with all that being said, the political process and even the party process still offers you access to platforms and stages and audiences that are really hard to get. I mean, you guys are doing a radio show. You know how hard it is to get people to listen to what you have to say, and particularly in any kind of context. And the political process, fortunately, still gives you that opportunity, even if it's rigged, even if the vote doesn't ultimately go your way, you still get that opportunity to get up in front of people, teach them, and like Ron Paul says, they can't unhear what you've told them.
Yeah. So Dax, so my question, which I didn't think I asked you when you made the announcement, was like, what made you actually choose to run? Because if you thought it was so corrupt, which a lot of us do, I mean, it's almost like to us, it could be a waste of time. But besides having that platform to talk more, like, what made you finally say to your wife? And how many kids do you have?
I have 7 kids and 1 on the way.
You have 8 kids. Wow. That's how it works out there in Oklahoma.
Works that way everywhere.
I know how it works, and we like that part of it. So.
Wow. So anyway, tell us what made you finally say to your wife, "Hey, honey, can I run? And is it cool, or like, how is it going to be with the family? Because I know it's going to take a lot of my time up." Can you talk about that?
Yeah. Well, for me, I'm very dissatisfied with our governor, Mary Fallin, and it was looking like nobody was going to file against her for the primary, and I didn't think that. And being a liberty activist in the Republican Party, I just didn't feel right that we were going to have an election and the liberty side of things wasn't even going to be voiced at all. A major election for governor, and that the Governor Fallin will be coronated, that the next governor, and not even challenged with any kind of statements, to the contrary of what she's been running on and what she's been running as. And so, to me, it was kind of a principled run. I wanted to put my name in there, and another guy, an attorney here in Oklahoma City, ran too. His name's Chad Moody. And fortunately, we were able to get out there and get in front of some people and raise some issues. And I think we actually through doing all this, we ended up putting some political pressure on the governor to make some policy changes that we were pushing for, specifically regarding Common Core, and now we see policies shifting in Oklahoma with regard to marijuana. So, and I attribute a lot of that to the fact that we ran We put up a battle. We put the issues out there and got people talking about them. And when the public opinion changes, the public policy will change along with it.
All right. Dax, I want to ask you a quick question. Common Core, how's the fight out there with Common Core?
Well, we fight it hard out here in Oklahoma, and like I said, Mary Fallon was the president of the National Governors Association, who was the biggest pusher and promoter of Common Core, and she began her campaign really trying to convince Republicans to be for it, and the party in general, whether you were Tea Party, establishment, whatever kind of Republican you were, was really against Common Core, and despite the fact that the governor was really pushing it. And then we have some activists here in Oklahoma who really took a passion to that issue, along with me and the other candidates that ran for governor, stepping up and being against it. And finally, under all that pressure, a bill was passed, and Fallon was basically forced to sign a bill that kept the Common Core standards from being implemented in Oklahoma. I mean, the battle's still on,
awesome.
But that was a major victory because of the pressure that mounted during the election.
Oh, wow, awesome. Well,
so Oklahoma's a state that's not supporting Common Core.
Absolutely.
Right, because New Jersey right now, they don't. It's neither they're supporting, not supporting. They're not doing the vote yet.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It's like an unvoted idea being pushed down from the federal government.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So.
Well, like I said, we're going on to a station break, Dax, but we'll be right back. I want to talk about you want to say about your future plans, and also talk about liberty, and also talk about the marijuana law.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, because because marijuana right now is a big issue right now going around the country, and I don't know if you know about what's happening in New Jersey, but we definitely want to know what's happening in Oklahoma. And
Absolutely.
We'll be right back. This is OnFire Show.
If you want whole foods and more natural products while making your family healthier, visit 2285475.myforevergreen.org. That's 2285475.myforevergreen.org. Do it today.
All right. Hi, you're back with OnFire. Hey, Neil.
What's going on, Darryl? So, we're Dax. Real excited that you're on, and we have plenty more to discuss with you. And if you're just joining in on the show, we have Dax Ewbank. He ran for governor of Oklahoma under the Republican ticket. He ran in the primaries against the sitting governor. Now, the primaries, as you know, is pre-election of an election. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like if you're in a specific party and you want to challenge someone in that party, that's the time to do it.
That's the time to get them out.
Yeah. Now, in Dax's case, of course, running for governor in the primaries, he went against the sitting governor. So it's kind of putting the screws in before even the main election. It's it's like the pre-bout.
Yeah.
Right, Dax?
Right. Absolutely.
Now, Dax
and it's when the primary is designed so that the party activists pick their candidate, and that's when the candidate is vetted for the general public, I guess, and that's what we did. We ran against the sitting governor and just trying to challenge her with some ideas and making her be aware of some certain aspects of liberty that were being overlooked in our state.
Now, how were you vetted? Can you talk about that?
I vetted?
Yeah.
Well, and that's the nice thing about the primaries is I was a member of the party, so I can just run, and so that's how I did it. You have to file. You have to pay $1,500 to get on the ticket.
Pay $1,500?
And form a campaign committee. It's a big legal mess, and sign yourself up for all kinds of trouble if you don't handle the money right and all that. But apart from that, you can get your name on the ticket and run, and that's what I did.
So in your state, you don't petition; you buy your way in.
Basically.
Yeah, New Jersey, you would have to get a thousand signatures to run for governor. I think it's 1,000, it might be 800.
Yeah, the rules
you don't
are
have
different.
to pay 800.
And just so you know, if you're listening, the rules for different positions require less signatures. or more signatures. Like I ran for Board of Ed. I was required to have 10 signatures in my town. And I think it's also based on your population of your town in New Jersey. So Board of Eds might have 40 signatures in the town of Edison. Millstone, where I live, was only 10 required signatures to be on the ballot.
And how many people signed your petition, Neil?
You just need 10.
That's all you got was 10?
Well, for me, it's if you know the rules, if 10 is a requirement, then 10 is all you need. And as long as they fit the rules of the statements above, which is I live and reside in Millstone, and of course if I walk to my neighbor's house, I know he resides in Millstone.
Oh, okay.
So it's just very simple, that process in Jersey. it's thousands of signatures.
That's one thing we do have. We have a simple process here.
That'd be nice because I still have $1,500 today.
Bax, I want to ask you a question. What was it like when the look that especially younger generation and when you told them you were running for governor, when you went up to the voters and talked to them, was there a certain look that they like wow, you're running for governor?
Yeah, people. Well, I get the look like, are you crazy? I got that look a lot. But if I actually got to talk to people, I saw a lot of lights go off in people's minds and their eyes, and to hear the issues and to talk about them. A lot of them, don't understand it completely, and a lot of people, I guess they just vote by habit. In Oklahoma, we have something in the general election called straight party voting, where all you do is check Republican, and it automatically votes for every Republican on the ticket.
It's like a select all, right?
That's how a lot of people vote in Oklahoma, unfortunately.
Oh, wow.
You have a select all option?
Yeah, basically, it's at the top of the ticket. It says Republican or Democrat, and you can select that, and that's the only thing you have to mark on the ballot, and you're done. And a lot of the parties have put that mechanism into place, and they've also made access to the ballot, because there's not a libertarian option on there. It's one of the things the Libertarian Party's fighting for in Oklahoma. But it's not there today. So.
Oh, okay.
So tell us, once the campaign started for you, Dax, were you able to go to present yourself to the same places the governor was presenting to, or not?
Yes and no. I hit. My strategy was to hit party activists, Tea Party groups. Because I figure activists were people that would multiply themselves, they're the people that are going to go out and tell their friends about who they're going to vote for. And I figured if I could get my message to resonate with them, even if, my time was limited, I had a full-time job while I was running. I have a wife and 7 kids, like I told you.
Wow.
And all of that going on.
What type of
so
job
it wasn't
do you
like
do?
I was able to, like most politicians, form a campaign corporation basically and run that and live out of it. I still had to go to work every day. And we left every night and drove to some different meeting every night of the week for about 3 months, and just met with activists as much as we could to try to get the word out. We used Facebook, and we use social media and everything like that, just to try to multiply the message and to get the message of liberty to resonate with people.
So Dax, off the politics, I want to ask you. You're going to have 8 kids, right? You got one on the way. That'll be 8. What type of job do you have?
I'm an IT person in the healthcare industry.
Oh, okay.
So I'm like a normal kind of person. I go to work and I do IT work for a hospital here in Oklahoma City.
Cost of living is a lot lower there. So if you're an IT guy, probably you're doing well. And if the cost of living is less, 8 kids to support her, could be in your reach.
Okay.
Yeah.
If that's what you're concerned about.
Yeah.
But again, if you live within your means, which you can, if you know how to bring your gas prices down, or bring your electric price down, bring your telephone costs down, and live within that.
When you have 7 kids, you learn how to do all those kind of things.
Wow. Yeah, that's interesting. So let's talk about some of the marijuana issues in Oklahoma.
Well, and Oklahoma is one of also the strictest laws against marijuana. In fact, in Oklahoma, you can get a life prison sentence for just possessing certain kinds of marijuana.
Wow.
Like the oil, the marijuana oil in particular. If you're caught with a certain amount of it, the penalty is up to life in prison just for having it.
Marijuana. Marijuana oil.
Yes. Yeah.
What is marijuana oil?
Okay, it's just like they take the marijuana plant and make a tincture of it, basically, or distill it down, and the oils of the plant are pulled out, and that is used as medicine. People take it orally or topically instead of smoking it.
So you can get life for that? Like, wow.
Yeah, life in prison for it.
Joe said it makes good salad dressing. When last time you had some marijuana, Joe?
Dax,
well, in Oklahoma, see, the oil is how there's several families in Oklahoma who have kids with epilepsy.
Yes.
And the oil is helping them. They're living as refugees right now from our state in Colorado, and the oil is helping their children. However, if they were to travel back home with that oil, they do face that possibility of if they have some kind of encounter with law enforcement, they have the possibility to have their children taken from them, have their property taken from them, and ultimately prison. They're facing prison simply for transporting the very medicine that is saving their child's life.
Wow.
And that's one of the big pushes we're doing right now to try to change that law in Oklahoma.
Yeah, and I've researched about cannabis oil because I heard, of course, Facebook posts. You get all these different posts on different subject matters. So they said cannabis oil helps reduce the risk of cancer or has the potential to reduce the symptoms. Are you familiar?
For cancer, yeah, it has a lot of treatments. But the thing we're focusing on right now in Oklahoma is pediatric seizures, Dravet syndrome. These are kids that have several hundred seizures per day, some of them. And the cannabis oil and the oil that they use, one of the oils they use isn't even intoxicating because there's a compound in the marijuana oil called CBD that helps these kids out a lot. And but the other compound, THC, also helps them out when they're having a seizure. The THC oil can stop the seizure in its tracks without having a lot of the real harmful side effects that the narcotic medications that they use for the same thing that are prescribed by doctors and currently legal.
Now, what's strange about that is if this is truly what's happening, why would the American people want to make it legal for people to get it anywhere?
Well, there's a lot of money in it being illegal. I mean, the marijuana prohibition is a big industry. The prison industries are behind it. The law enforcement, the whole war on drug, the cartel activity, all of that stuff is wrapped up in marijuana prohibition. And a lot of people stand to lose a lot of money if that prohibition is relaxed.
Yeah, I mean, this question. I think that's the big part of it is that there is. It's we talk about what are the will of the American people. The American people are taught to be frightened, and they're taught to be frightened so that it enables a industry to go ahead and wage the war on drugs, and that's really the way it works. Just the way that we get frightened into wars overseas.
Yeah,
exactly. And basically that's how it works here in Oklahoma. The marijuana issue by the governor was mainly at the beginning of the campaign. She just joked about it, like, "Oh, they want to legalize marijuana, and we're not going to do that," and would just laugh at us. But as the campaign progressed and up to today, that's changed, albeit very slowly. One of the biggest campaign contributors to the current governor in Oklahoma is the private prison industry, and marijuana prohibition wouldn't do them any good.
Right. Well, Dax, we, in New Jersey it goes back maybe 4 or 5 years now, we actually approved medical marijuana, but the program is still, just barely hobbling along. And if you ask why, you say, well, our biggest employers in this state happen to be the pharmaceutical industry. Some of the biggest, drug companies in the world are headquartered here, so they don't want to see, homegrown solutions to these problems being legalized.
I would call it competition.
Competition, yes.
Right? It's like a monopolistic
Yeah, that's
society.
why you have government. It keeps the competition down.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, that's what they're using. They call it regulation, but it ends up just being, regulatory capture, where the companies that are supposedly being regulated actually end up capturing the regulators and then using the force of government to clear out the market and to keep it open for just themselves, to create a cartel, basically, or to create a monopoly for themselves.
Yeah, it's tilting the billiards table to their pocket, That's basically
it.
Absolutely.
And if you're enjoying this,
and that's what's happening. But to the general public, it's about the crazy drug user and all of the typical issues that you hear when you come up with this subject. The irresponsible drug user, the person that smokes marijuana and drives, and basically the entire police state that is surrounding the marijuana prohibition is justified in the minds of the voter by those very flimsy arguments.
Yeah, and if you're enjoying this conversation, you can join the chat room at hamiltonradio.net. Go to hamiltonradio.net, and of course, you can click on the chat room to join the conversation. You'll join as a guest, but if you go and log in and register, the administrator here will approve you, and you can come in. We'll actually see your name listed. So that'd be the way to join this chat room. So we got 2 minutes before we go to commercial break. So anyone else have some questions for Dax?
Well, Dax, you're saying Daryl's run for Senate. I ran for Congress, and it was basically in District of New Jersey. You probably have about 600 to 900 square miles to cover. It's not that big of a state. I mean, Oklahoma's a huge state. Just how did you manage to cover off a lot of geography, or did you just work in the areas you can get to from home?
Well, we covered pretty much the whole state. We did a lot of driving. And we just tried to hit like the GOP meetings, the Tea Party meetings, and we had a good network of activists throughout the state through the Ron Paul campaign that we maintain that network even today, and then we use it for different campaigns and to get different issues out, and so that opened a lot of doors for me to be able to go out and talk to people and hit meetings, and also those activists obviously took my message upon themselves. Some of them made their own signs. Some of them, did what they could to get the word out.
Did you get any support from Sarah Palin?
No, I didn't. She did not support me.
Oh, wow.
Who would you get endorsed by, Dax?
Well, Congressman Bridenstine was favorable towards me. I wouldn't say that nobody would endorse me because of the marijuana issue. Everybody tried to stay arm's length away from me because of that. And it's because it's that scary. I guess the mindset of the voter, in their opinion, was, that it was that risky of a proposition to make. However, I think that between my actions and the other candidate, Chad Moody, who's actually a drug lawyer here in Oklahoma City, he ran solely on a legalization platform. We were able to get that issue out there. And like just last week, I went to a Senate hearing about medical marijuana, where we're looking at least allowing the CBD oil for the kids, and that's going to open the door to more discussion.
Now, Dax, because Oklahoma says it's illegal, do you know the statistics or what's happening with California, Colorado, Alaska, Washington, the states that have legalized it? All these concerns that citizens have about the bad things marijuana have. Are they coming true in those states, or what do you have information on any of that?
I've seen the information that I've seen, like in Colorado, is that they're making all kinds of money on the tax side of things, and that crime is actually down. Business is up, jobs are up, and that just like anything, it's liberty is helping people instead of hurting people, and giving people some liberty in that area is a benefit to their state. That's the trend that I've seen in the different stats that are coming out from those places. Of course, a lot of those stats that are coming out are pretty. You see some stats on the other side where the propaganda machine is still in full effect, trying to convince everybody that everything's bad. But I think the facts speak otherwise.
Now I know Adam Kokesh, who I don't know. Do you know Adam or not?
Yeah.
All right. So Adam is a pretty liberty activist, and he's gone to different states and done what are they called, smokeouts, where it's a day where you light up out in public and let's see where the cards fall, I guess. So for you in Oklahoma, I mean, would you guys ever consider doing something like that, what's called a civil disobedient act, and go through the trial process and show people that?
That's a lot of years.
Well,
yeah, I think what I'd rather, if I was going to do civil disobedience, I would do it bringing medicine into a kid. I would definitely break the law to do that.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't. I mean, I don't think that the marijuana activism, a lot of it is not helpful. If we're going to try to change the law by actual public policy, if we're just going to try to show the absurdity of the law and of prohibition, then that activism is incredible for doing that. However, to reach the dumbed down TV watching public, you really have to kind of put your suit and tie on and put your Republican pin on your lapel and go in with a compelling argument and speak about it a little differently.
All right, and you definitely have. I mean, bringing that subject matter out in Oklahoma, which, like you said, is a life sentence if you're caught with it.
Wow.
So
that's a deterrent.
I mean, to bring that up now and be that, I'm not sure why you like. If you talk to Adam, he'd say, "Let's smoke out front right now," and I don't mind getting arrested and going through the legal process and prove the absurdity of it. And the other part was part of your campaign also trying to educate people on the good side of what the medical marijuana can do for people. I mean, was that?
Yeah, I call them marijuana. I call it a firewall word because when people hear it, their critical thinking kind of shuts off because they have a preconceived notion that they've been taught, and they've just accepted from authority instead of really reasoning it out. And I think when I did go out and talk, and when I began to tell the stories of these kids that are suffering, that the marijuana provides relief to in an almost miraculous way, and that these kids are from Oklahoma, they're Oklahomans, here's their face, here's their picture, here's their child in my arms, I'm holding her. Mm-hmm. And when they begin to see that side of the story, it really kind of melts that firewall, and people begin to consider, maybe we have thought about this and we need to consider this issue differently.
Yeah.
So Dax, question: Have you tried marijuana?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, I went to college.
You went to college, me too.
Yeah. Isn't that what people do there? Or
yes, yeah. I drank a lot of beer in college.
Me too. So
I didn't smoke a lot of marijuana because if you ever at a party, marijuana, if somebody's on it, you all smoking some weed, and somebody asks the fool, they blow you high. Right. That's what you always you just I needed some, what is the thing back in the day, St. Ives. That was St. Ives. That's it.
What's it?
St.
Ives. I think that the issue, the party side of the issue is a difficult one to get, especially in Oklahoma. We're a very conservative, religious, Bible Belt kind of state. So getting that discussion beyond that stereotype is difficult, but it's doable.
Dax, so of course in California, if you get pulled over and they say, "Do you have marijuana in your car?" I mean, I think their answer would be, "No, I have my medicine on me," right?
Uh-huh.
So, I mean, if you just change that term to medicine, which is what California did, I mean, if someone got pulled over in any state and they said, "Is that marijuana?" You say, "No, it's not. It's medicine."
Well, no, but there's
if you get pulled over, if the officer even suspects it, he can force you to submit to a blood test, and if you refuse the blood test, you instantly lose your license, whether you were high or not.
Right, and
that's the force of government.
But you have to have a medical marijuana card to call it medicine, and it's not honored, and it doesn't have to be honored in every state. I mean, people cross states with things like Actifed, which is you can boil down and put it in methamphetamine. So you can't bring that to transport it. People go into jail for transporting an over-the-counter drug into other states because its active ingredient can be used to make meth.
It's like Footloose, man. We should start dancing, right?
I hope people that understand the principles of liberty understand that all of those laws are insane.
They are insane.
And have nothing to do with liberty.
Yeah.
Right, but it's a huge personal risk to somebody.
And in Oklahoma, it's particularly bad.
Yeah.
Well, Adam used to say it's...
We'll fly over Oklahoma.
Well, I think Adam said things are illegal, but that's not unlawful.
Right. Yeah.
Right, yeah, it's not unlawful, it's not immoral, there's no victim. And, people will say, well, what about somebody who gets high and drives a car and hurts somebody? Well, it's already illegal to hurt somebody with a car or for any reason. If you're sleepy, for any reason why you are unable to effectively operate a motor vehicle, it's already illegal to hurt somebody. And so, that argument about, the argument about what about people who drive stoned, that the law already addresses that in an effective way.
Yeah. Well, Dax, we'd like to thank you for coming on the show.
Yeah, I've had a great time.
Thanks, Dax. I appreciate you calling in. We'd love to have you on again. And if you want to make your announcement for running for governor or any other place, Hamilton Radio is the place to do it. We tried to get governor.
I look for every outlet that I can get it, and I've enjoyed being on with you guys, and it sounds like I'd be well received anyway, so that would be great.
Hey, Dax, have you seen our website, OnFire News Network?
No, but I'll check it out.
Check it out. Go to onfirenn.com. That's onfirenn.com.
All right.
And you can, we got some products on there if you wanted a coffee cup. Let's say you've been on Fire, you can get a coffee cup.
I can have a little souvenir from being on your show.
Yeah, you can also like us on Facebook, the On Fire News Network Facebook page. And you can join the chat room by going to hamiltonradio.net, click on chat room. And if you want to register and actually have your name show up in the chat room, you can register. The administrator here will approve you. And we'd love to have more guests or people listening join the chat room and ask questions to guests like Dax. And the next guest is who coming on?
Randy Sutton from Las Vegas, a PD.
Yeah, so we'll be back in, 2-3 minutes?
2-3 minutes. So it's Randy Sutton. All right, Dax, take care.
Take care now.
Thanks, man. Talk to you guys later.
And get a cup. So you've been on Fire News Network.
I will.
All right, take care.
Yeah.
Feeling down, depressed, just don't feel like getting out of the house anymore? Well, do it anyway! Sounds like it's time. Ticketstime.com, that is. Ticketstime.com has tickets for sports, concerts, and theater just waiting for you to buy. Did your favorite concert sell out? We have tickets at Ticketstime.com. Did you miss your favorite team's last game? Don't miss the next one. Log on to Ticketstime.com. Is there a play you've been dying to see but haven't had the time? Well, make the time at Ticketstime.com. Everyone needs some relaxation time, so remember to make some time at Ticketstime.com.
Hey, welcome back to On Fire Show. This is Daryl McKell Brooks. I'm here with Joe Ciano and Neil Slush and Deacon Clarence Haynes. How you doing today? We're back. It's about 9:48, and we have a special guest from Las Vegas. His name is Randy Sutton. Retired PD, but for close to 37 years as a police officer. He was a lieutenant. And we're definitely going to talk about what's happening in Ferguson. He wants to talk about what's happening in Ferguson. I guess he wants to talk about Uncle Al. And that's Uncle Al Sharpton. And some of the issues that he sees what's going on in Ferguson and maybe around the country. As you know, people are still protesting. People are there's some parts of the country that are in areas that are rioting and blocking highways and, doing a lot of protests because they believe that Michael Brown was killed, shot, assassinated, whatever you want to see it, call it. But, there's a lot of interesting things are happening and the issues of race always comes up. And it's very interesting how society is seeing this from around not just around the country, but around the world, and how people are looking at America. And, the fact is in Cleveland, a 12-year-old, I think he was 12 or 13-year-old boy was just shot because he had a pellet gun. And they didn't stop. They got out the car and just shot the boy dead. And so there's a lot of things that are, happening around this country is going to make people think and hopefully do some changing. And there was a great picture and this guy took in Portland, Oregon, where him, who's a police officer, and a young girl gave each other a hug. And I guess that's interesting, too.
Right, yeah, the hands up. I mean, St. Louis Rams coming out with the hands up. There's 2 politicians I saw doing the hands up thing.
I did
And-
Joe hands up when we got out the car. I said, hands up, Joe. No,
Oh.
I thought he was joking.
Yeah,
It was a
whenever
robbery.
you never see a black man in the parking lot put my hands up.
Oh.
Hey, if you are just joining the show and you want to join the conversation here, you can join the chat room at hamiltonradio.net. Click on the chat room. You'll come in as a guest. If you want to have your name showed, please click on register and make sure you fill it out, and the administrator will approve it. And we'd love to have you join the conversation.
Why don't we just start out with Officer Sutton by having him tell us a little bit about himself, his background, and how he comes to this.
Randy
Yes,
Sutton.
Randy. Okay.
That's me. Hello, gentlemen.
Hello.
So tell us a little bit about yourself. And by the way, I look at you on the website, and unless that's an old picture, you look great for someone who's done 38 or whatever years of policing, because you look like you're about 40.
Well, I appreciate that. It's actually, I did 33 and a half, almost 34 years.
Okay.
10 in Princeton, New Jersey. I was a Princeton Borough police officer and detective for 10 years. And then I spent 23 and a half as a police officer with Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department, which is the 9th largest police department in the country. And I retired at the rank of lieutenant just a few years ago. And I also have written a number of books, the first one being True Blue, Police Stories by Those Who Have Lived Them. Second one called A Cop's Life. Third one, True Blue to Protect and Serve. And the fourth one, which is due for release just actually in a couple months, called The Power of Legacy, Personal Heroes of America's Most Inspiring People. So I've got a little varied background. I teach around the country. I present to law enforcement officers a course of instruction, an 8-hour seminar entitled Policing with Honor. It's about surviving your career ethically as well as physically and emotionally. And it's really is part of the topic of this entire Ferguson debacle, if you will.
Mm-hmm. And are you familiar with Oath Keepers?
Yes, I am. Mm-hmm.
Are you a member of, or were you a member of Oath Keepers while you were in the police force?
No, I was not. There's a certain radical element to Oath Keepers that has an issue, and kind of there's been some issues with some of those folks around here. So that's not something I'm going to join.
So tell us, what do you think about what's happening in Ferguson, Missouri?
Well, I actually went to Ferguson. I did my own research because after the initial shooting took place, and in the immediate aftermath of that shooting, absolutely insane things were being said about what this police officer did. And quite honestly, they were so far out of the realm of common sense that I didn't believe it. The bit with as the guy was running away with his hands up, the officer shooting him in the back, and the don't shoot, and he shoots him and executes him, and everything that I heard was really unbelievable to me. As a police veteran, and also as a veteran of police combat, having been involved in 4 officer-involved shootings personally. When I heard what was being said, I didn't actually believe it. And then as events unfolded and the hysteria manifested itself based on what was being said by, which of course was traced back to the Michael Brown's compatriot in the initial robbery. So there's a guy that's really believable. And then I went to Ferguson right after the riots took place, and I spoke with police officers from all over the St. Louis County, and discovered that there was basically a bunker mentality taking place because of all the allegations that were being made, and the reality that the officers down there knew that all of those things were lies, and they were trying to support Officer Wilson, and I in watching how the crowd behaved, how the media portrayed this entire mess, and how politicians got involved in race baiters like Al Sharpton, I recognized that this was going to be a watershed moment in law enforcement, much as when Rodney King incident happened. I lived through those riots and actually was involved in enforcing the law in Vegas during those riots. So I recognized that this was going to be a pivotal moment in law enforcement, and I certainly was not wrong.
So Randy, I'm reading your site also. I mean, I can't wait to talk to you about the movies you've been in. But with regards to Ferguson, so, I mean, give us a little bit more about what you saw, facts. I mean, like, as a police officer kind of doing an investigation. And have you had a chance to read the transcripts from the grand jury by any chance?
I did. I read some of them. I didn't read them all. But I've been following the case very, very closely, both in the news media and through contacts down in the St. Louis area. So I've been keeping myself abreast of the things that have taken place. And, you know, first of all, the narrative about the officer murdering Michael Brown is about as false could be. When you examine everything in the light of day and after everything has been come to light, Michael Brown was the suspect. Darren Wilson was the victim. So let's be really clear on that. Michael Brown is a victim of nothing. Michael Brown is the one who wrote the script on this tragic set of circumstances, destroyed his life and ruined the life of a young police officer. And that was because of the decisions made by Michael Brown. First of all, he was a thug. He embraced the thug culture, which is evident by the video that he made. I don't know if you have had an opportunity to see that, where he talks about killing people and and basically everything that the thug culture embraces, he embraced. He's the one that made the decision that he was going to get high. He's the one that made the decision he was going to commit a robbery at a convenience store. And then he's the one that made the decision to confront the police officer with violence, attempt to take his gun, and died as a result. So when you talk about accountability, Michael Brown is accountable for his own demise, and that's the long and short of it. I know that there's a huge amount of people who have not looked at the facts, but simply want to believe the narrative that the national media has just absolutely pulled the wool over. Well, they're looking for ratings. They don't really care about the truth. So they have fanned the flames with their stilted reporting, and it's been what we're seeing as a result of that is the absolute civil disobedience and violence that have resulted from lies, and it's really sickening to me both as a former law enforcement officer and just as a person that looks at facts logically, and to see how the manipulation that has taken place here and how it has manifested itself in violence and even involving the President of the United States and Eric Holder, the highest-ranking law enforcement officer in the country, taking part in this and also creating even more controversy and violence.
Randy, this is Joe. The actual, I'm going to say facts of the case aside, how that went down, the handling of it by the local authorities. Do you feel that could have been done better? I mean, one of the things we keep on hearing about is the fact that the body was left on the street for 4 hours. Then, the officer was not available at any time after that for questioning in terms of the media, the press. Would you feel that was a standard procedure, or that should have been done differently?
No, well, in relation to the crime scene investigation, what should have taken place is they should have shielded the body. But a lot of police departments don't have the capabilities, the forensic capabilities of departments that have greater resources. In movies and television, you always see the police covering a body with a sheet, and in point of fact, that never takes place. That doesn't happen because it contaminates the scene, and you cannot have any contamination if you're looking to get a correct forensic investigation. So, could the forensic exam at the scene taken place quicker? Well, keep in mind that the Ferguson Police Department doesn't have the resources to conduct a homicide investigation. That's done at the county level. So that means resources have to be called in and sent over. So what took place is a matter of logistical problems that occur where a smaller agency doesn't have the resources. So they have to call in a larger agency. There wasn't any plot to show disrespect to this person. That's just the matter of the time-consuming investigation that took place. So then you bring up the point that the officer was not made available. Well, why in God's name would you make a police officer available to a ferocious, frenzied media to be cross-examined about an officer-involved shooting? No one does that. That wouldn't be done in any city. There's an investigation that takes place, and there's procedures for it. So the police department handled that part adequately. Now, one thing that I did see that I took some issue with was when the initial protests started taking place. I think that the initial police response to that initial protest.
You mean with the military gear and the armored cars?
Yeah, with the military vehicles and the snipers being set up and all that. That was pretty bush league, to tell you the truth. And I think that certainly added fuel to the fire. And there were some serious errors made by the original on-scene commanders as to how to respond to civil disobedience. But you also have to understand that these kind of massive protests rarely take place, and with a smaller agency, it's probably a once-in-a-lifetime experience. So these guys weren't trained in the proper methods of dealing with large-scale civil disobedience. And I can tell you that police officers around the country are rarely trained in this because it happens so infrequently. The police department that I was with, Las Vegas Metro, was one of the best-trained police departments in the country. And we were caught flat-footed after the Rodney King unrest, to the point where there wasn't enough body armor to go around. We eventually had to send envoys out to military installations to try and get flak vests because we were unprepared. So what has taken place over the genesis of all this military hardware and equipment and rifles being used by police agencies is based on the past experience. Police officers didn't have rifles until the tragedy in the Los Angeles shootout, where the police were so outgunned by armed robbers that a number of cops were seriously injured, and it was a very, very famous case.
Yeah, I remember that. The officers had to go into the gun stores and get some guns.
Yeah. You hit it. You got it right on the head. That's exactly right. Now, so, it's like everyone learns from those experiences. Rodney King taught us that we better be prepared for civil disobedience and have the proper equipment for it.
Now, Randy, question.
Yeah.
The protests and some of the civil disobedience. I tell people, I talk with some of my Tea Party friends, and I think what it is a lot of people, when they say Mike Brown, and like Mike Brown is a horrible case for a situation for civil disobedience to protest, when there were a number of people that were just African Americans that were shot with who just walking down the street or just running out of stores, something, they just shot the guy. No problem. I think it was a guy in Walmart. Walmart with he bought a gun. He bought a matter of fact, was it a toy gun?
It was in the aisle.
It was a toy gun in the aisle, and the cops just came on him and shot him dead. One of the things that I think people don't understand is that there is a somewhat of a history of misuse or abuse of police officers to African Americans, especially to poor and inner city. And I think that's why you see a lot of people who are kind of upset. I mean, do you agree with that? I mean, there's been some cases.
Absolutely, there have been some cases. You got to understand. There's approximately 1 million law enforcement officers in the United States. There's about 50,000 different police departments, different police agencies that 24/7 are investigating crimes or investigating calls and dealing with armed suspects on a continual basis. And every now and then, there's a screw-up. Every now and then, someone will perceive a danger where someone else might not perceive that danger, and a police officer reacts to their perception.
Mm-hmm.
Do these things, will they always work out the way we want them to work out? No. Accidents will happen. Perceptions will be wrong. And occasionally there will be someone that is killed that, if the situation had been handled differently, they wouldn't have been.
Yeah.
That takes place.
Now, what do you think about that? I was in Cleveland with the 12-year-old had as a pellet gun,
mm-hmm.
and I'm sure you've seen a video where they just rolled up on him and shot him dead. That is
a tragic set of circumstances.
Yeah,
a tragic set of circumstances. However, I don't know if you're aware of this, but they told him to put the gun down to show them his hands 3 times when he went for the weapon in his waistband, and that has been there were other witnesses there that saw that. So
mm-hmm.
Now the officers have no idea that this thing's a pellet gun because it was modified. The orange barrel was removed to make it look like a true weapon, and if you don't know, you would never know that this was a pellet gun. You just wouldn't know it.
But still,
it's a replica of a firearm.
But one of the things is that they can't understand that the kid is a 12-year-old kid. I mean, and that's what I see when you're a 12-year-old kid, a 12-year-old, and
that doesn't mean anything. I'll tell you why. The radio call that the police officer came over the air and requested the medical. In that, his perception was that he thought this kid was in his 20s. Now, he didn't make that up. That, from his vantage point and from his perception, this kid looked like he was 20 years old. But it doesn't really matter how old the kid was. I have news for you. My first shooting was a 15-year-old who, after he wrecked the car that I was chasing because it was stolen, took off on foot. I rounded a corner, and he was waiting for me with a 9mm pointed at my head. I don't care how old the kid is. I don't care how old a human being is. He's got a gun in his hand, and he intends to use it. He is a target for the police.
Okay, I understand it. Now there's been talked about stun guns. I don't see, and also we talked about you don't see the police have what is the thing they have? Plutons. In their hand anymore. It's gone. When they used to, the club. You don't see that anymore. Why is that?
Well, actually, impact weapons are called. They used to be long, cylindrical, about 3 feet long, right? That's the ones you're talking about. A baton.
Yeah.
Right. Billy Club.
And they still exist. Most police officers still carry them, but they've been modified, and they're called expandable batons now, in order to take up less room on the gun belt. And
Yeah, I don't.
still,
Go ahead.
they're still being used by police agencies all over the country. The thing about batons, also taser weapons, chemical spray, pepper spray, those are all those things that saved countless lives because they give a police officer an option. As opposed to using deadly force, they give the police officer an option to use a lesser use of force in order to try and subdue someone. And that's the whole point of those. And they are used frequently, and they save countless lives. Now, is it always appropriate to use them? And the answer to that is no. Darren Wilson had absolutely no opportunity to use one of those weapons because the battery that Michael Brown committed on him was committed in such a small, confined area of his car that at that point, when Michael Brown punched out the officer, those punches are very devastating. What they do is, when you're involved in a physical confrontation as a police officer, first of all, you want to avoid it at all costs, if you can. When they happen, you have to protect your weapon. Because if you're knocked out, or if you are disabled in some way, your weapon is going to be used against you.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there's a very startling statistic that most people are not aware of, and that is that since 2000, 57 police officers have been killed by their own weapons because they were taken away from them in exactly the same type of situation. Happened with Michael Brown.
Could that be the training of the police officer? Because one of the things, I grew up in inner city. And I've seen times where individuals attacked a cop, and the cop just beat the hell out of the guy and then locked him up. And could it be the training of a cop that's not properly trained, or poorly trained police officer? Because I believe if you're a cop, you're trained probably in the martial arts tactics and different things like that. How to stop a person right there in their tracks and arrest a person. But is that a possibility that Dan Wilson didn't have the proper training? Because
I would say that I'm not aware of the training level that he had, so I couldn't say that. But I can say this, that the actions that he took, as opposed when he was held in his car and punched out, the actions that he took were consistent with someone that anyone would do the same exact thing. Once the weapon was in play, once Michael Brown and the forensic evidence backs all this up, of course, Michael Brown tried to get the officer's gun from him, and the gun went off in the car, striking Michael Brown. That, by 1 millimeter of space, that weapon could have seriously injured or killed Darren Wilson. He's in a fight for his life.
All right.
When you're in a fight for your life, there aren't any rules.
All right, Randy Sutton, we'll be right back. We're going to the station break. We're going to talk about your Hollywood career next.
Okay.
All right, we'll be right back. This is OnFire Show.
So, you want to get imaged? Well, cool. That's what we do. Whether you're smooth jazz, rock, or hip-hop, or just plain want the guy next door, then we got a deal for you.
Whatever you need, you know what I'm saying?
At JeffRadio.com, we provide quality, affordable voiceovers that rock.
Is there a juicy part in it for me?
All at a price that you can afford.
Can you believe him?
JeffRadio.com.
A very smart cookie.
Check out our demos today.
Hey, you're back with OnFire. You're here with Randy Sutton. I am Darryl McKell Brooks with
Joe Ciana
and Neil Schloss.
And we have
Deacon Clarence Haynes.
Deacon Clarence Haynes. We got about 10 more minutes. We're going to talk about your career in Hollywood. And they say you was in the famous movie, and I seen you, and I did. Oh my God! So I gotta get the movie. I got to get the movie over again and watch it. But tell us how you started in Hollywood. You're a good-looking guy. How old are you?
I was a good-looking guy in my younger days.
In younger days?
Now I'm an old guy.
Okay.
Well, it's interesting. That movie that you're talking about for your listeners is I was in the movie Casino with Robert De Niro and Sharon Stone, and I had a pretty good speaking role in that. And the way that came about is kind of entertaining. You're familiar with the television show Cops?
Yeah.
Right.
I was one of the most featured police officers on that show for 3 seasons.
Mm-hmm.
I was in 17 episodes of that television show. And what happened was, from being on Cops, when they were filming the movie Casino, I received a phone call from a casting agent who said, there's going to be a film produced in Las Vegas, and the director is looking for realism in the part of a police officer, and would you be interested in coming in and doing an audition? And I have kind of a background in acting anyway. I used to do a lot of theater in Princeton, as a matter of fact. And so I said, sure, I'll come down and do an audition. And I had no idea what the movie was, who would involve. It was just something to do. So I go to the hotel where they're doing the auditions, and I walk into the hotel room, and who is standing there but Robert De Niro and Martin Scorsese. And my audition consisted of me telling them stories from my police career, much as I've done with you tonight a little bit, telling some of the experiences that I had. And I wound up talking to those guys for about an hour, telling them war stories. And they said, "You got the part." And the scene that I did with them, I actually ad-libbed that entire scene with Robert De Niro. That wasn't the script. He and I just played off each other, and they wound up keeping that in the movie.
Oh wow!
Well, from that movie, I got into the Screen Actors Guild because it was a decent speaking role, and then did another film called Fools Rush In with Matthew Perry and Salma Hayek. And in that movie, I was a Boulder Dam cop who delivered her baby on the bridge at Boulder Dam. So I can legitimately say that I was between Salma Hayek's legs for 3 days.
Wow.
Now that's a highlight, if you'll understand that. So and then I did another one with Sandra Bullock. I played in Miss Congeniality Part 2.
Okay.
Then I did probably my biggest role was I co-starred in the premiere episode of Las Vegas with James Caan.
Oh, okay.
I got to play a bad guy in that one, which was kind of fun. And I'm actually about to
Las
film a
Vegas.
new movie.
Las Vegas. Was that the airplane?
What's that?
Or was that the airplane?
With all the Elvises jumping out?
No, was it? Yeah, all the Elvises jumping out.
No. The Las Vegas. No, Las Vegas was a television show. It was the premiere episode of. I think it ran about 4 or 5 years, with James Caan being the head of security at a hotel.
In a casino. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And then we're going to film a movie called The Wish Man, which is a really cool movie about the life of Frank Shankwitz, who was the creator of the Make-A-Wish Foundation when he was a Arizona Highway Patrol officer. Really inspiring story. And I met him when I was doing my new book. He was one of the people that I interviewed for The Power of Legacy, Personal Heroes of America's Most Inspiring People. And he and I become very, very good friends. He's an amazing man with an incredible story. And they're making a movie about his life called The Wish Man.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, so I'm still doing some acting, do some lounge singing, and
oh wow,
some of the casinos every now and then. Do a little Frank Sinatra style stuff.
Oh wow, when I come to Vegas, I definitely have to come see you.
Yeah, what casinos are you performing at?
I'm sorry, say that again.
Which casinos are you performing at?
I didn't understand what you said.
Which casinos?
Oh, it depends. I sit in with different bands here and there.
Oh man, we definitely gotta come to Vegas. What goes on in Vegas stays in Vegas, right? And that's the thing.
That's the thing.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
Wow. You know, well, Randy, we'd like to thank you for coming on. We definitely want to have you on. We're definitely going to have you on again and promote the show a lot more, and because so get people to know exactly who you are and some of the things that you're doing. And you know, it's great that a guy like you and how you also train police officers too, right?
Yes, I do. I actually just got booked for 4 more seminars. In the state of Indiana, on the topic of policing with honor, and one of the things that I'm really most proud of is that I believe that the vast majority of the men and women who wear a badge do so with pride and do so with honor, because inside they took the job in order to help people. Really. It sounds a little corny, but it's reality, and I know that from thousands of men and women that I served with.
Oh yeah, I definitely believe there's some good cops. I didn't ever like Trenton cops until I guess my generation started becoming police officers. Say, hey, I know you. I went to school with you.
So I worked with Trenton police officers very frequently.
Yeah. Because
of course a lot of the Trenton hoods came into Princeton to because the pickings were much easier there. So there was a lot of work together with Trenton PD.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, because of the corruption of that city, a lot of good cops lost their jobs, and the city's police force was emasculated by corruption.
Yeah.
And that's really a sad state of affairs. But I would like to your listeners, invite them to come take a look at my website, poweroflegacy.com, so they can, read about what I'm doing and my books. And also, come visit me on Facebook, Randy Sutton. Because of the post that I did where I have challenged ABC, NBC, CBS, and CNN to allow the perspective of a street cop, a guy that's been there and done that, instead of some of the morons that they've been putting on the air. I challenge them.
Oh yeah,
on my website, on Facebook, and on their website, and I've received absolutely unbelievable support for my position, and the number of my post actually went viral.
Mm-hmm.
So I invite anybody to come onto my Facebook page and take a look at it.
Wow, yeah, CNN, breaking news, CNN. That's what I call it. It's like every 5 minutes is a breaking news. Well, we'd like to thank you for coming on. You have to go to our Facebook page and like us on Fire News Network. You can do that, right?
Tell
you.
Right. Yeah, I will of course do that.
Yeah. So we can send our fans to some of your about your you can talk about your book and talk about what you do on our Facebook page. Also, have you got to check out OnFire News Network and OnFireNN.com. That's OnFireNN.com, where you can also if you can get a OnFire News Network cup.
Yes, a cup.
A mug.
Swag, right?
Yes. So you've been on OnFire News Network.
I am looking at your Facebook page right now, OnFire Show, right?
Yeah.
Yes. OnFire. Does it say OnFire News Network?
He's on the OnFire Show.
Okay, go to It says go to OnFire News Network.
Okay, all right. See, you can tell me these things.
Are you on it now? Oh, you got to go to OnFire News Network. Wow.
Consider it done.
All right, and go, and all you got to do is Google OnFireNN.com.
Got it.
And you can see our mug there. We tell everybody get a mug. Support the support the station. The show. Get a mug.
All right, well, you are hereby officially liked.
All right.
Thanks, Randy.
It's good to be liked.
Have a great night, all right?
All right, Randy.
Take care.
Thanks
for the info.
See you guys. Take care.
All right. We got 1 minute to go, and we'd like to thank all our listeners for listening to OnFire Show, and it's been exciting. Today we had Dax Ewbank and out of Oklahoma. He ran for governor and as a Republican, and he deals with some of the issues, definitely with the marijuana law issue out there and Common Core. And Randy Sutton, Las Vegas PD, former Las Vegas PD. 34 years, and he's seemed like to be a great, decent guy.
He was a Jersey boy also.
Jersey
Princeton,
boy
he
from
said.
Princeton.
Yeah.
A progressive Princeton boy.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Oh, nice.
All right.
You got 10
Think of
extra
the extra 10
minutes.
minutes.
Yeah, thanks, Judo.
You want to talk
Appreciate
about
it.
the banks? Come on, sit down and have a chair. He want to talk about the.
Oh, here you go.
He want to talk about the banks.
Gino's
Right.
coming in
Gino's
on the
coming on.
conversation.
Yes.
Finally, we got him
Okay.
in.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Welcome, Gino.
Welcome, guys. Thanks. No, the reason why I gave you extra time is because, first of all, people out there got to know what the banks are doing.
Yeah.
I mean, they just passed the G20 summit, and they put down that any type of deposit is now a paper investment, meaning that it's worthless. It doesn't mean anything to you or to the bank. However, FDIC is not insuring any accounts at all, ever, since this G20.
So the FDIC insurance, for anyone listening, is the insurance that covers your ass if the banks go under, that you'll get your insurance coverage of up to
Percentage.
250,000, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that was per bank. That's not per account. People think it's, if you got $100,000 in the bank, you're going to lose a lot of that.
Oh, wow.
If
Okay,
you got
can you
$1,000
explain
in the
that?
bank, you're going to lose a lot of that.
All right.
Can I elaborate?
Sure, absolutely.
To elaborate on
educate
that,
educate the listeners.
The public. Okay. Well, to do that, we have to figure out how the fractional banking system works.
Fractional banking, that's an interesting word.
Yeah, it means whenever you deposit any type of amount of money in the bank can loan it out 30 times.
Mm-hmm.
And some banks, like the Fed, loan it out up to 300 times, which means that they're just creating money out of thin air, which means there is no money there.
Right. So just to give you an example, if you put $100 into the bank can then turn around, depending on what their reserve requirement is. If the reserve requirement is 20%, that means they have to keep 20%. They can loan out $80. Okay, so that $80 gets given out to, let's say I give it to Joe. Joe then runs to the bank and says, I'm going to deposit $80. That bank will withhold 20%.
Correct.
Right? So it's $16 off that, and then the bank can loan out the difference, right? $64. So it just basically is a continuous string of amounts they can loan out on one deposit, which makes it fractionally reserved.
Exactly.
All right.
But that's the other part of it. People don't seem to understand. The way the money system works, when there is no money and they go create money, which we know about loans and mortgages, we can get into that, and that could be a whole nother show. But I'm currently going through a process right now. We'll see how that plays out. But the idea behind it is you put your money in the bank. The bank knows, well, geez, Neil, he's not going to touch his money hardly ever. So we can take that money and loan it to Joe, loan it to the pastor, loan it to. But meanwhile, you think your money's still there. It's not there.
Right, and if you're listening in, you can watch a YouTube video by the provocateur called The American Dream. It's a cartoon, 30-minute cartoon.
That's a good one, yeah.
It's awesome. You can even have your kids watch it because it's a cartoon. I mean, so that's the best part. Kids watch it because they see it as a made-up story, and then the adults can watch it and listen to it as if it's a true story about how the banking system works, because it talks about the Rothschilds. It goes into the whole idea, the Jekyll Island.
Which I've been.
Modern money making mechanics, which is another great book to read. And just to go off that a little bit, with all the money that they say is out there, the federal debt can never. It's set up that way. That can never be repaid. It's set up that way so you constantly have a debt. And that debt means that you're constantly enslavement to the Fed. And who is the Fed? A private company.
Right.
Who's the USA? A private company.
Right. So, guys, the facts, you have to do the research yourself to see if Gino's telling the truth. I'm actually more honored that Gino joined the conversation, because we've been trying to get him to join this conversation. And it's I'm happy to have him sitting next to me to be talking.
We have to end the Fed.
We got to end the Fed. That was a big thing that Ron Paul wanted to do. Of course, in the Senate and the House, with the Republicans having majority in January, it'll be interesting to see if the Audit the Fed bill does pass, because I assume that will be a bill that's going to be promoted by Rand Paul out of the Senate, and who in the Congress wrote up was it Ted Cruz?
He's in Senate, so
He's in Senate.
Amash, is he involved in this? No.
It could be Justin Amash. Yeah, he could be promoting the bill in the House. So,
right. Well, we ought to have, has been offered to have Steve Forbes and then Steve Lonigan's working on this. They're taking like the halfway approach. They're having like there's a book out there called Fix the Dollar, and it's about fixing the Fed. They go through all the problems of it, but then they said, well, let's just bring it back to its original purpose of being the banker of last resort, which I think has shown that it doesn't work. Central banking gets out of hand, but it might be interesting to have them on as a guest to see where they find the middle ground.
I have to interject too. The BRICS alliance right now that is competition now for the dollar.
Yep.
It has a lot of nations now on that.
The BRIC platform.
All
right. BRIC is BRIC. Stands for, I think, Brazil, Russia, India, and China.
Right. That's like
not Chile.
It's like 40% of the land mass of it.
Deflating the dollar even more, because the dollar, they know there's no value to it.
Yeah, devaluing of the dollar. Which
right,
is
and
they're
stockpiling gold.
Right. So if you want to learn about chicken hatchery, of course, listen to the show next week. We'll continue the discussion on chicken. Yeah, exactly. But
the golden egg.
Yeah. So it's the going back to the conversation on the banking system. I mean, a lot of these things that Juno's referring to is right on. Was there anything else you want to add?
Yeah, I just want to say, because of the holiday season's coming up, and it is Christmas, okay? Not holiday, it's Christmas. It's a Wonderful Life has a scene in there where people raid a bank because they do the same thing. They don't have the money. So if you want to see a bank run, watch that movie. But understand that it's more than that. Okay, it's more than what the money is there. It's what it's meant to you by. That's why we say value for value is always better. To barter with somebody rather than give them money is a better value, because money is worthless. You need it for your bills, but remember that when there's no money in that system anymore, what are you going to do?
Don't pay your bills.
And I could say giving a free chicken to someone to make for dinner is more giving than handing money over to someone else, because I know I'm feeding a family.
Roosevelt said what? A chicken in every pot, right?
Yes. And if you go to OnFire.com, you can buy an OnFire chicken. It will be it'll be monogrammed.
Yeah, OnFire chicken.
I'll have to take a picture with my chickens and put it as one of the logos.
I prefer turkey on every pan.
And Daryl will fry it up for you for another $5.
Yeah.
All right, so how much more time do we have, Gino?
Time's up.
Close it up. So.
All right, it's 10:37. We'd like to thank all listeners for listening to the show. We'd like to thank
Gino for coming on.
Yeah, Gino for coming on. Yeah, but the Banks and Randy Sutton.
Yeah, and Dax, thanks for calling in. And next week we have Gigi Bowman.
Yes.
Gigi Bowman. She ran for State Senate of New York as a Libertarian candidate in the 5th district. Very excited to have her on to find out how her campaign went. She definitely has some interesting stories based on what I've seen on Facebook, and looking forward to hearing those stories.
Do we have one guest or two guests so
Well,
far?
I think that we're going to have another guest. There's a guy I talked to. He's a pretty interesting guy. He's a rabbi out of Mercer County.
What's his name?